Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today I want to go over how I made 5 mirrors in 2 weeks of the league. This has been one of my most successful league starts ever, so that was pretty cool. But it's pretty simple how I got to 5 mirrors, but obviously there's some complications involved along the way. Also, don't mind the fact that my game is in 800 by 600 right now. I was just doing 5 ways to level my character up because I'm working on a new build. But as you can see, I got 5 mirrors, a mage blood, and if I go in here, I also have like an awaken enlighten 5 here, an awaken empower 5 here. So yeah, we're firmly rich, I would say. It's the best way to put it. So how did I get here, you might ask? Well, it starts with stack decks and ends with crafting. So I started with maybe, I want to say I farmed chaos recipes for maybe 30 chaos, opened stack decks, sold the cards, zeroed out a couple times, had to go and farm chaos recipes for more stack decks. Rinse and repeat, did that for a while till I hit a big card, started the cycle, pulled, an apothecary, sold the apothecary, bought decks, bought decks, sold cards, opened cards, sold cards. There's more information on that strategy. I'll leave a video to it at the end of this one. I'll also put a card up at the top around 2 minutes into this video. Hopefully I remember to do that. That just kind of goes over how the stack decking strategy works in a little more detail. After I did stack decks for a while, I would say I got about 500 divines doing stack decks, but as I was doing stack decks, I was putting, 10 div in, 10 div in, 10 div in into investments. In particular, I was buying Vivid Vultures and Craicic Chimerals, just as well as some crafting materials just to, because I was going to work on a mirror tier craft. So when a Max Frenzy ring came out, a triple synth Max Frenzy ring came out, I offered a guy, I think at the time it was 4 House of Mirrors, 80 Divine, and 1 Unrequited Love for his ring. It was about 210 Divines at the time worth of currency. And then I took that Max Frenzy triple synth ring and I used the Vivid Vultures and Craicic Chimerals and rolled about 360 times. Ended up with a percent int and percent or max frenzy and percent global crit multi ring. I then crafted the suffixes for omniscience tornado shot build, and then I had one of the mirror tier officers in TFT help me finish the prefixes, and he gets a cut of the services as a payback. So it was like a buy-in so that I could finish the ring because I had run out of money. That ring is now done. It's in the TFT shop. It's been copied 18 times, and I've made a little bit, I would say about 100 div over what I actually put into it back. So I spent about 2.5 mirrors on it. I've gotten about 2.7 mirrors back from it so far. So that has now paid itself back. Meanwhile, I made about 2.5 mirrors through stack decks. I did do a little bit of gambling to get one of those mirrors. I did a House of Mirrors gamble and I ended up winning big on that. But for the most part, I got 4 mirrors through opening stack decks and selling, and then doing a mirror tier craft and doing smart investing on my way. For smart investments, I'm going to leave a list on the screen of things that you should invest in early league that gain value almost guaranteed and always. And then, yeah, hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what to invest in early league so that you can keep your divines from losing value over time and keep your chaos from losing value over time. Overall, I also want to point out that early league, whenever possible, you should be liquidating your chaos into divines because the price of divines for how much chaos you have goes up, guaranteed. It's happened predictively for the past, more than a year now. It will always be the fact of people have more chaos orbs, so they're willing to spend more chaos orbs to get their divine orbs faster. But yeah, so overall, I would say there are some very specific investments that you can make early league that can lead you into some serious income. I would say the stack deck strategy from this point forward in the league is not viable. The cost of stack decks has gone up too far, and the price of early league valued cards has gone down. Things like old iron point, daggers, 6-link chess pieces, stuff like that have all gone down in price, tabula rasas, etc., etc. So the amount you make back and the amount you put in is definitely not worth doing anymore at this point in the league. But you can always try it again next league. I know some people have tried it this league and have had some good success with it, so something to consider. Past that, I plan on, after making my build, making a build video on what I'm doing. We're using the new tattoos for the build, and it seems really interesting and exciting. I've definitely never built a passive skill tree quite like this, so very interesting. So look forward to seeing that video in the future. I'm going to see what I can do with the league mechanic, although I've heard some horror stories of it being very slow and boring and long, and I've gotten my hands dirty a little bit with it, and I can attest to the fact that I have yet to really get anything out of it. So it's a toss-up. I heard it's kind of high rolly, like you need to get lucky to make it worth farming. So we'll see what happens there. I also want to get into doing sanctums again, as well as just general farming and bossing. I think it'll be a lot of fun once the build's together. So that's about all I wanted to talk about today. Hopefully you got some insight on how I got to 5 mirrors. It's not some get rich quick scheme. It's not one specific strategy. It's multiple strategies. It's a lot of game knowledge. It's a lot of applying that game knowledge, applying risk, and getting rewarded for doing so, making sacrifices to get rewarded later on. Yes, I know this isn't like a typical way of playing the game, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt, I guess. A lot of people don't appreciate the way that you can make currency faster in this game by not mapping, by not farming, and instead by doing a lot of smart trading and investing and in playing the market and being good at knowing what goes up and what goes down in the market at given times in the league. So yeah, if you do want to get a lot of currency in this game, I highly suggest spending some leagues just watching the market, seeing what goes up and what goes down, when, and what periods of time, and trying to pick a market you want to interact with and profit off of. Once you have the proper game knowledge, it's pretty much like it's like it feels almost guaranteed that you can make this kind of currency every league. You just have to know what you're doing and apply that knowledge to action and commit a lot of time doing it. Like I said, I play a lot of PoE. I'm not the kind of guy that plays 2 hours a day. I'm playing, you know, a full 10 hours a day. I spend a lot of time playing the game, and I know a lot of people, and they tell me a lot of things, and so it is an advantage to put time in, and which is kind of sucky because obviously the people who don't have the time to put into working the market and being a trader and all of this other stuff, you do have to kind of farm instead, or at least pick your battles and be smart with the amount of time you have. It's a weird one for sure. There's so many avenues to go into in the market. A lot of them are profitable. You just have to kind of pick the right one that you want to do and that you're willing to spend time doing it and put in the effort to actually doing it, which means doing hundreds of trades. It means doing things you might not want to do. You know, it's unfortunately, it's not fun being a hideout warrior, but it's fun having a ton of currency to then go make a build and play the game how you want, right? Even at 5 mirrors, I'm not sure I'll get the build to where I want it to be. As far as min-maxing goes, I'll get pretty damn close, but yeah, 5 mirrors still not quite enough. But I am going to have a lot of fun with this new build, so I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys enjoyed and learned a few things here today, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, take care.